Like and subscribe right now, or the spider will crawl on your face when you're sleeping. There's some places in the world where building a home can cost you a lot, even your own life. From unstable cliffs to underwater, let's look at 10 worst places to build a house. 10. At the foot of a volcano. Volcanoes are the cause of one of the biggest natural disasters in human history, so it would obviously be dangerous to build a home near a volcano. Because of the fact that volcanoes are very common in the world, a huge amount of people live within the danger zones of volcanoes, including the people of Mount Merapi in Indonesia. Violent volcanoes such as Vesuvius and Mount St. Helens tend to explode and throw up several cubic miles of ash and rock. A 30-centimeter thick ash layer can be heavy enough to cause roofs to collapse. After an eruption, pyroclastic flows can engulf a town in superheated steam and poisonous sulfur dioxide or asphyxiating carbon dioxide, which can be very harmful to the people. Residents of Mount Merapi live just 4 miles away from a volcano. The volcano is not a quiet one either, as it has already erupted 60 times in the last 500 years and has caused a lot of damage to the villages nearby.
Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works.
9. Arctic tundra. Building a home on one end of the world in the Arctic tundra is not a choice for most, but some people love to live there too. Arctic tundra is one of the coldest, vast, and isolated regions in the world. Like in an ocean, you cannot see anything but a thin ice sheet and water. The climate is too harsh to provide a comfortable lifestyle, but as expected, some people are crazy enough to live in these conditions too. There are many towns in the Arctic and Antarctic regions where people live in freezing temperatures. In fact, there's some place where the temperature drops to negative 56 degrees Fahrenheit on a normal daily basis. In such cold conditions, everyday resources like water, electricity, and food are a daily problem, and no internet. Would you ever want to live in such conditions? 8. Between buildings. Due to an increase in population and expensive places to live, the trend of tiny houses is on the rise. But some are worse than others because they took it too far. Squeezing a house where a house shouldn't be, like between two buildings, is never a good idea. The Carrette House is an example of one of the worst places to build a home. Built by Polish architect Jakub Szczesny, it's claimed to be the world's narrowest building, just 122 centimeters across at its widest point. The Carrette House is squeezed into a crevice between two buildings in the center of Warsaw and provides a temporary home for traveling riders. It's so small that two people can't live together on one floor, so it had a number of floors. It might be a cool idea for a temporary stay, but living there permanently would not be a good idea at all. The body of the house is raised up on stilts and a staircase leads inside from underneath. At its narrowest point, the house is no more than 72 centimeters wide. Everything was custom and everything needed to be pushed, said Szczesny, explaining how they managed to fit in all the necessary furnishings. 7. Tornado Alley. Building a home that is prone to natural disasters is never a good idea, and if you decide to build a home in a place where there's a high probability of tornadoes, then only God can save you. Some places in the world are more dangerous than others when it comes to tornado disasters, but Tornado Alley is literally the worst. It's one of the worst places to build a home because, as you probably expected from the name, Tornado Alley is very famous for its tornadoes. No other location in the United States experiences more tornadoes than this region. It isn't just the massive number of tornadoes, but also how big and destructive they are. The tornadoes can destroy entire buildings and ruin homes, leaving just the rubble behind. So it's never a good idea to build a home this prone to tornadoes. 6. In the middle of a river. Building a home in the middle of a river seems like a no-brainer. It's easily one of the worst places to build a home as there's no chance of mobility, but you cannot stop people from standing out. You might be surprised how many people have built houses on a river, and not just simple single-story houses. Some people have built mansions in the middle of rivers. The St. Lawrence River has small islands in its middle that are full of small houses. Some of these islands are hardly bigger than a giant rock, and people have still built houses on them. Due to global warming, there's been a rise in the sea level in different parts of the world. Should the St. Lawrence rise too, these houses will easily be flooded and investments worth hundreds and thousands of dollars will be washed away. Literally. In harsh weather, it would be hard for the residents to reach the mainland during some event of an emergency. You can't ask a person to swim while having a heart attack. 5. On a mountainside. To have some sort of privacy, people build houses in some of the most isolated places in the world. But the quest for privacy shouldn't overcome safety. There's some people who dream of living on a mountain because of how peaceful and isolated they are from the rest of the world. But living on the edge of a mountain? That isn't for everybody. One of the best examples of some of the worst places to build a house is the Zhongkong Temple, also known as the Hanging Temple in China. It does exactly what the name suggests: hang on the side of a mountain. This temple is 246 feet above the ground. It was once used as a monastery, but now it's mostly just a tourist spot. To reach the nearest town, you need to drive 40 miles, which shows how isolated it really is. Would you ever want to live here? 4. Beside an explosive lake. Building a house on the bank of a lake doesn't sound as bad, and many people have built houses and restaurants on them, but unlike other normal lakes in the world, Lake Kivu has the potential to harm and maybe kill everyone within a few miles radius. Under the surface of the lake, there are about 300 billion cubic meters of carbon dioxide and 60 billion cubic meters of methane gas. Normally the gas stays underwater and doesn't surface to the upper layer. There are many gas extraction sites in the lake too. If there's a disturbance in the lake, the methane gas and carbon dioxide would form a layer cloud of gases which would be very harmful to the people who live close to the lake. There are many restaurants there which would be affected too. Building a house there is definitely not a good idea. 3. Underwater. From the tallest building in the world to underwater hotels, Dubai has some of the most expensive and brilliantly designed things in the world. Dubai's man-made islands, known as the World, has taken the architecture world by storm. They've also built floating homes, which are something extraordinary and frankly dangerous. Known as the floating seahorse, this piece of architecture actually floats in the water, but the dangerous thing about it is that some part of the home is completely underwater. To model this house, it took the team 18,000 houses of research, design, and engineering. This floating home is deemed safe, but it's not sure how safe they actually are. They're still under construction and just a model has been built. The underwater home consists of one master bedroom, one bathroom, and 270 feet of living space. It does seem like a cool concept, but the safety of the house is yet to be proven. And with that, it's now time for today's subscriber pick. Today's photo was sent to us by subscriber. If you come across a photo online and want to know more details about it, just send it over to us. We might even feature it on a future video. 2. On a cliff. Living in a house on the edge of a cliff seems like a lovely thing in many ways, and indeed there are many beautiful houses perched on the edges of cliffs. You get permanently unimpeded water views, seclusion, and that sort of dangerously powerful feeling that comes from standing on top of something and looking down at the world. But then again, in a lot of cases, there's always the chance that the cliff could break off, causing your house to fall into a lake or into the sea. Due to water hitting the cliff at all times, there's a big chance of erosion and the cliff softening, which results in the cliff breaking off, putting the lives of people who live on the edges at risk. Take the Berlin Gap in East Sussex, for example. Due to erosion, the cliffside started to give away, and that resulted in parts of houses and apartments falling into the sea. High tides are cliffside houses' worst enemy, so it's never a good idea to build a home on a cliff. 1. On a sinking island. Owning a home on an island is a dream for many, but only a few get to achieve it. In recent years, people have been choosing to go to remote tropical islands to spend their vacations, honeymoons, and be closer to nature. But not all islands are created equal, and building a home on an island can be really risky. People who are interested in geography know that most tropical islands are prone to tropical storms that can create hurricane winds and even tsunamis. Even if the islands are designed to withstand these conditions, some islands are actually sinking due to water rising because of global warming. The Maldives is one of the most iconic oases in the world and a dream spot for many, but the islands are slowly sinking into the sea and nothing can help them. Support walls and barriers are built around the island to keep out the water, but that doesn't help much and it barely slows down the sinking process. It would definitely not be a good idea to build a home on a sinking island. maybe it's time to choose a different location for vacation too, like your own backyard. That's our list of the 10 worst places to build a home. Would you ever want to live in any of these places? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and hit the subscribe button.